Hello, myself Sunil Nair. And here basically we are talking one of the topic that is the attraction and the which generation is supposed to go next and which generation is not supposed to go next. That basically is decided by set of groups. And here basically the set of groups basically are divided into set of systems basically. Set of system basically. So we have taken lots of example like 5 crore human clone basically going to stay where and where basically they are going to stay, and like this basically generating basically we decided, and 5 crore people basically has been human cloned, and they are basically controlled by the IBM computers or Microsoft computers, and many computers basically are there. They basically have the each data of each and every people basically. So this basically comes to digital world basically. This comes to the digital world basically, that what actually the digital world is. This is the best example of digital world basically. So that basically also we have seen. Then basically we saw that how basically the banking industry basically are handling each and everything basically. How basically investment has become very easy for the banking industry. From the data basically we can see that basically the 5 crore people basically are human clones, and that bank basically knows that this 5 crore people are human clones, and for that basically World Bank has allocated this many money. That if bank also know basically generally, so bank basically know each and everything, that this person which basically is coming, he is basically getting money from which group basically. So according to that, the banks also do the plan. That is also basically there. According to that, basically he's getting money from which area. According to that, also basically banks do the plan. The set of union groups that do the plan. Sports groups do the plan. Bollywood groups do the plan. Like the software industries do the plan. So like this, basically each and every groups basically do the plans. So there are lots of plans basically also created by the set of groups. In this basically we are going to see that also basically what actually the plans are, how basically plans are defined, and how basically each and every things are basically implemented. In this basically we saw this also that how the basically each and every buildings basically are getting stable, and how basically the earthquakes basically are connected. That also basically we saw that basically the earthquake basically are connected with each and every energies basically. That also we, when we basically saw that land animals basically how they directly impacts the entire environment. That also we saw. Then basically we saw that how each and every buildings are basically stable, and for that basically how many energy is required. That also basically so, and there are more than 1500 process basically. If you want to convert your body's energy to the universal energy, then only basically you can, your energy basically can give the support to the universe basically. That is the when the earth planet is moving to the other planet, to the other side. So basically, so earth planet basically people are basically only connected with up to the earth planet energy only. Means earth planet people only can support earth planet movement basically. No other basically planet movement basically they can't support. If they support, but then also basically it is not going to get support, because that's connected with the attraction object basically, because it's created for specifically for earth planet only. Then basically we saw that also that lots of human body basically of the earth planet are basically getting shifted to the other planets, and there basically their body gets generates, and how basically the human body gets generates of earth planet to the other planets, and how basically they starts their journey, and the chain basically is earth planet. Then one of the person told that basically is earth planet also generated like this only. That also basically we saw basically how the basically that we saw long before basically how earth planet also basically might be possible that they have started the journey like this. So lots of things basically we saw. And then basically we saw that each and every world bank basically has allocated money to the each and every groups, and how basically the software company union is there, how basically one person says that this person is rejected, an entire city basically says that yeah basically he is rejected, how basically that union connects. That also basically we basically saw each and everything basically, how union due to union the basically entire world basically got into trouble. That also basically we have saw the one example, how due to that one person basically the entire world came into trouble. That also basically we saw. This basically connects to the union. Union means ekta. So that also basically we saw that what actually the union is. Then basically we saw that how basically the Bollywood industry basically has contributed lots of things. Basically in this basically we saw the one Sholay movie, that 1 lakh human clones basically has created, sorry, human souls basically has created, and human souls basically has converted into 1 lakh birth, and from 1 lakh birth basically more than 30 lakh people basically got created. So Sholay basically Sholay, one Sholay movie basically created 30 lakh people. That also basically we saw 30 lakh people basically. And the Bollywood industry basically says that from our movie, from basically our movie basically we have created around 30 crore people. And we know basically how many people basically we our movies basically are created, how basically the movies basically are created, how basically the producers say that basically we are spending as 1,000 crore and we are just getting 100 200 crore from the tickets and from the advertising, this all this basically. And then basically how basically the income is getting generated by the producer and director. So this basically we saw that these all are the groups basically, and they basically can use particular resource also. So 30 crore resources are of Bollywood group basically, and they keeps on rotating the resources and the investment also. Basically the 50,000 crore basically is the rotation, and the 5 to 6 lakh crore basically bank investment also is there basically of the Bollywood industry. So like this that also basically we saw. Then basically we saw that how basically um, the software industry union is also basically there. For example, one company says that basically we are not going to take this person. So like this basically the entire company also say that we are not going to take that particular person. This is called software union. And how basically the software union basically one day is going to convert to entire software, and also that is also possible. That also basically we have saw that also, that how basically the earth planet union basically was earth planet, due to one earth planet union basically how the in universe basically the earth planet galaxy was getting generated, and there basically the earth planet galaxy was getting generated, and they basically generated some energies, and that energy basically was sent back to the satellites, and how basically that satellite person basically tracked it, how he basically tracked it, and then basically how he basically tracked that basically the entire earth planet will end just within second. So how basically tracked, and how basically he changed the entire scene of the earth planet, and then basically how basically he saved the entire world planet and world, and how basically the scene was generated. That was basically the save of the earth planet. Actually the earth planet end was the scene which was generated by the universe group basically. So which would be the reason basically of the earth planet, and that also basically we saw from this example. So like this basically Bollywood group says that we have created each and every conditions we have checked also by this movie creation basically. And this 30 crore are basically the example basically, if you want to use the example that how basically the which type of energy basically might create problem basically, that we have done the experiment in this 30 crore basically. You just see basically how the Bollywood each and every blood cells are basically created. That also you see basically, just see the writer also basically how they have written the each and every blood cells. They are basically written actually the blood cells, the creation of blood cells. They have written the story of the blood cells basically. How 30 crore people basically got generated, like that also basically we saw. This all actually basically converts to some attraction basically. That is the basically one is the save attraction, either world is going to save or basically world is going to end. One thing is only going to happen. So whatever things basically you do, that is going to save the world or it's going to end the world. That connects to the attraction. That is basically the Bollywood group says that for that basically we have created 30 crore people basically. You can check that each and every data basically, which energy is basically attracting what basically, which energy is basically attracting what. That basically for that basically um, we have saw each and everything basically, each and every movie with Sholay movie for example. He taken the example of Sholay movie. So Sholay movie was containing what all the things basically, that basically you can just see in the movie basically what each and everything was basically getting generated. Then basically he told that there are many movies like in Hindi basically, more than 1 lakh movies are there in the Bollywood basically. So basically they have created the, so like this basically uh, the more than 1,000 crore 5,000 sorry 1,000 crore 500 crore basically is the income of the actor. 500 crore, 1,000 crore is the income of the actors basically, how they earns basically. So this is the basically source basically, they have the data. That is basically 30 crore people basically, and that 30 crore people basically has created set of groups also basically, so that by default basically it connects to more than 100 crore. So the actor basically says that we have 100 crore data. They basically says that basically to be the businessman basically we have 100 crore data. Like the businessman basically says that basically you come to our showroom basically and attract the people. Like this basically they say that basically we have 100 crore people. Like this basically entire 100 crore people is not of the one people basically, they are basically many actors basically. Each basically actor have set of groups basically, they have kept themselves totally different basically. So like this actor actress small supporting groups, like this basically many groups are there basically. Like this their groups are there, they have kept themselves separate totally. Like this we have 30 crore group, that also basically we saw. Now here basically about the plans basically, what actually the plans basically the certain groups basically do. For example, banking industry, how they do the plan. Banking industry says that basically we do the plan from the product, we just only have one equipment, that is the products basically. That products basically designed by the banks and sorry World Bank, and World Bank basically designs each and every product basically. We have taken the example of the universe basically, 5 crore is one crore, one 5 crore people is one product basically for the bank, that is the World Bank. It's their responsibility of the World Bank that basically they should get money basically, they should keeps on getting money. If they are not getting money, then World Bank will be responsible. And the World Bank says that we have given responsibility to the each and every banks, then banks basically will be responsible by default basically, World Bank will be responsible. So like this basically each and every things are basically there. Like this bank says that we have created product, and what is product also that basically we have saw. Then basically we saw that how basically the bank sells the product, how basically it has become so easy for the managers and the bank directors basically to sell the product, because they know exact data basically, that this all are data basically we have to attract. And this basically are the 5 crore people for we are actually doing the investment. So these 5 crore people should get the human needs. For that basically we are creating the city basically. For that basically we are basically selling the products basically, so that basically whatever the cities basically they are creating the cities, so that basically these 5 crore people basically can get the human energies, and then basically they can get the human needs. So for that basically this for the 5 crore people, the banks groups basically, that are IITs, IIMs and the MBA groups, the banking system groups basically, they do the plans basically sitting in bank. Means mostly the World Bank do the plan, but the data manipulation basically everything basically World Bank can't do, right? Each and everything basically World Bank can't do, because they have to create keeps on doing the product basically. and they basically not only creates the product, basically they checks the product also. So here basically I want to say that World Bank basically have that team in each and every basically country basically, other than banking industry basically. You can say that this name basically you can give as a financial firm basically. They basically connects with the financial firm, and then basically they checks the product basically. After checking the product only, then they basically gives the product to the banks, because they have their virtual system basically. From virtual system they dump the each and every data basically of the 5 crore people. Then they basically say this, they basically gets the information of each and every blood group basically they have allocated. They have basically, World Bank basically gets the data from the World Health Organization basically, that this are the 5 crore people, and we have allocated this each and every people to the this particular blood group. So according to that basically you have to set the each and every people, so that basically they can set their location basically. So like this basically the human needs basically gets creates of this particular blood group. For example, one crore basically, for total five blood group basically has divided of the 5 crore. So five blood groups are there basically. You just have to take care of these five blood groups basically. In this five blood group basically there are many blood groups, others also, other normal people are also basically connecting to these blood groups. So how basically you are going to differentiate this all data basically, that also basically is there, that also basically is there. So for that basically they say that we have created one few cities which we have basically need money for creation of this data, this that is 5 crore data, energy data basically. For that basically we need some certain level of money. For that basically with the World Bank is telling that this is the basically data, this is the product basically which you can use. So they collected the money, and then basically they started the creation of cities, creation of areas from the existing cities. And then basically they have world, each and every banks basically have given the name that this particular building, this particular area basically is created for this 5 crore people's human needs. Then means this all area basically is going to generate 5 crore people's human needs. So like this basically banks do the investment. So banks do this type of very dangerous plans basically. So this each and every plans basically are not so easy. For that's why basically they hire highly qualified people. There are they are that basically are IITs, IIMs, MBAs, and very high-fi banking studied people basically. You can say chartered accountant group also, ICW group also basically, CS group also basically. You can say that their group also basically comes into the banking industry. So like this basically banks do the very dangerous plan basically. We will see each and every plans basically. First we will see the plans of the detail of the bank's plan, how basically the banks do the plan. So this way basically we saw the plan basically. Then basically how banks basically communicate with the currency department, that this is the plan basically. This is the plan means plans equal to product. So this is the product basically which is basically we have to sell to the customers. For that basically they told that basically we have to collect the this product basically which we have created. That product basically is around there are more than 1 crore product are there basically there. So 1 crore product multiplied by whatever amount is there, that much money basically banks told that you have to print. So currency department told that basically okay, we will do one thing, we will print this much money and allocate this money into that product name. That is basically product name is directly connecting to that 5 crore people. So that currency department has printed the particular money for that particular 5 crore people. So like this banking industry basically connected with the currency department also. Just see basically it's not so easy to do the plan. So banking industry basically group basically are very highly qualified people basically, very highly qualified people basically. Few basically takes experience, and then basically they becomes very highly qualified. So like these banking industries are there basically, they do the plan basically. So this basically this whole thing basically is not so easy thing, right? So this type of all the plans basically need to computerize also. For that basically the IITs and IIMs groups and the MBA group basically they connects with the system group basically, that are basically the software companies basically. So they each and every IITs, IIMs and the MBA group basically have set of projects with them. They basically sells the project to the certain level of software companies, and basically they say that basically this is the project. If anybody can create, then basically do the bidding. Then they do, the software companies do the biddings, and then basically they say that basically, yeah, basically we can sell the software, sorry, we can purchase the software. Basically you basically can create the software. Then basically they told that basically, yeah, we can create the software. Then basically they say that basically these all are the infrastructure, this, that, this, each and every basically thing basically they displays in front of that IITs, IIMs and that group basically who have got the licensed from the World Bank, basically, because World Bank basically have set of groups basically who basically connects with the systems that are basically the system creation group, basically that is the software industry groups. Like this basically they say that basically you can basically connect to the software industry and create the product basically. So like this, the plan which is going to be executed, that basically gets computerized. So like this, the 5 crore human needs gets maps to this particular cities. This area basically you basically are seeing, yeah, basically the tag, how many tags basically you are getting, this much amount basically. So that basically is just that connect that is basically connected to that cities basically. Which cities basically, he told that basically the 5 crore people you don't know, they basically has been created for this particular task. Oh yeah, yeah, we know. Then basically the currency department say that basically, yeah, basically we have already printed the money basically, because nobody want to take the risk basically. So then basically they told that we have already printed the money. Then banks basically says that basically we have done the thing basically. So this is also one of the things basically. So next part basically we are going to discuss a little bit more about this.